Cardinals and Raiders won't be making the playoffs this year, but there are reasons to be optimistic for the future. We'll tell you what those are today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Crabbs from Locked On Dolphins, and we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who never miss a single episode, I appreciate y'all being here very, very much. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app.
I also appreciate everyone very, very much.
There was no chance. There was no chance I was going to get let off the hook for that.
Yeah, it made me bury me right on the top of the show, man. I was like, oh, okay.
I feel bad about it. I want you to know I'm sorry about that.
No, you don't. It's all right. You don't need to feel bad. We do extend our condolences to Raiders and Cardinals fans who were mathematically eliminated from the postseason, and that's why you get your moment in the sun here, right? Is it fair to say there's 2 times a year, up to 2 times a year, where you get like a whole show programmatically dedicated to your team on this program?
It's going to happen, right?
Everybody,
you don't want the second one
in the summertime, and you don't want the second one,
which is the second one
today. It's the Levy Grail, and I've stopped putting Levy Grail in the right-hand third because I don't want to alienate people who maybe have stumbled into this content style for the first time. If you're newer or you're not an everydayer, and if you are an everydayer, thank you. We appreciate you being an everydayer.
Yes,
very,
we, me and Kyle both, we appreciate you.
But the Levy Grail is when your team is mathematically eliminated from the postseason, we put on our optimist hat. And it's like, if I were a Raiders fan, if I were a Cardinals fan, if I were a Giants fan, if I were a Saints fan, if I were a Titans fan, this is what I would be optimistic about as kind of the centerpieces of our offseason, what we can use moving forward to become a competitive team. And none of it's guaranteed, but the objective with the Levy Grail is to be optimistic and only optimistic. And the reason why is because the Levy Grail is a reference to Marv Levy, the legendary head coach of the Buffalo Bills, who delivered what is it, a poem, a ballad? What is it technically referred to as?
I think a Scottish ballad is it.
Scottish ballad to galvanize his men in the face of adversity after losing in the Super Bowl.
Fight on, my men.
Fight on.
I am hurt, but I am not slain. I'll lay me down and bleed a while, and then I'll rise and fight again. Fight on, Raiders. Fight on, Cardinals. So let's do it. Let's talk about reasons to be optimistic for the future of these teams. We'll start with the Raiders. And Kyle, we got to start.
Raiders.
Yeah, we're thankful for that, right? You have the coolest uniforms. You have a fun slogan. But, I mean, it's got to be resources, right? Like, I'm not going to sell you on a lot of infrastructure that I like, but I can tell you that this team is projected to have over $100 million in cap space, and they're going to be picking high in the draft. First round, second round, third round. They've got 3 fourth-round picks, and that is your ticket, right? Talent is your ticket, and you have the opportunity to acquire talent this offseason, and it's necessary, right? I think it's nice to have Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty. We need more, and the good news is we have the opportunity to get more.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to start where, almost $120 million in projected cap space on Spot Track for 2026. Whatever you want to do is on the table, right? Now, whether that is paying the bad team tax and signing players in free agency very aggressively, whether that is offloading contracts that feature dead cap hits and charges, but maybe you have players that you want to cash out on, if you will, and add even more draft capital. I do think you should feel good about the general manager situation with John Spytek. Tom Brady obviously is a minority owner of the team. Do you know he was teammates with John Spytek at Michigan?
I did, and I knew that they had some run together with Tampa. I didn't know that they were teammates.
Yeah,
so that's okay. That's pretty big.
Teammates in Michigan. There's a strong trust level that exists there. And I think that's really important for organizational alignment. How much of a hand Tom Brady has and everything is going to be widely debated, right? But the fact that you hired somebody in Spytek, you kind of looked at the roster and knew this was going to be a long-term build, but then you hire Pete. Well, and if I were the Raiders, I'd move on from Pete Carroll this offseason. I'll be completely honest, right? It has not worked. Chip Kelly decision was a disaster. What of that was Tom Brady's? Like, I don't know, right? And it's impossible to parse through all that. But what we do know is Spytek comes from a very successful program in Tampa Bay. He's got a long-standing relationship and established trust with the minority owner of the team who's involved in the football operation decisions. This team picked 5 times in the top 100, 6 times in the top 108 last year in the draft. You've already mentioned the surplus in draft capital that they have in the here and now. You've kind of got some pillars, right? Lean into it. Keep leaning into it. And just understand, I think this is a long-term build and drafting by volume and the way in which they did and the ways in which they're already set up to do and can potentially do more of, depending on what they do with other players on the roster, is what you're going to have to do. But you need to get stability with the coaching staff so you're not constantly changing schemes and moving the goalposts on the young players you're putting into the system.
Kyle, we hadn't had a head coach reach a 4th consecutive season since Art Shell, 90 through 94.
Yeah.
And so I would 100% agree with your thought of moving on from Pete Carroll. And that's really absent of anything that I personally think about Pete Carroll. It's just that it's time to be committed to something, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the best organizations are the ones that are committed to a philosophy. And let's get a head coach in here that we're going to align with the general manager Spytek and allow us to use these resources that we have to build a legitimate foundation that's going to give them a chance to get and sustain being competitive and get away from this 30-year cycle of not really being committed to anything. Yeah. And you have so while we are trying to give you reasons to be optimistic, it's that you do have the opportunity to do that as opposed to, I mean, it's really been we're not allowed to say negative things, but there's been some miscalculations with leadership decisions. You have the opportunity to correct that moving forward.
I have a thing for you for optimism.
Okay.
So you signed Geno Smith to a 2-year, $75 million contract extension after you acquired Geno Smith via trade, right? They did not defer any money from this year into Geno Smith. So they could move on from Geno Smith. There was no prorated signing bonus. He got a roster bonus that they paid in 2025. So we're talking about Pete Carroll and potentially transitioning from Pete Carroll. I don't think Geno forgot how to play football. So the question you have to ask is, Geno's on the books next year for 26.5. Out of all of your quarterbacks who aren't on firm footing as starting quarterbacks in the NFL, that might be the most attractive combination of salary and the tab with recent caliber of play that's out there. $26.5 million. The Raiders could trade him and take on no dead cap as a part of that. Are you keeping Geno? You shopping Geno? And the Raiders, if they mess around and this season goes the right way, they could very easily be the top team in the draft order that needs a quarterback, and they already have a surplus of picks.
Yeah.
I think you can be very well positioned to make a quarterback decision that is a part of your conviction. This is who we are. This is what we want to commit to, and we're going to give ourselves time to do it.
If I'm being honest, I look at players like Geno Smith, like Kolton Miller, like Max Crosby. I know Miller and Crosby have been great Raiders, but the best thing that those players can do for you moving forward is give you the opportunity to get some younger players that you can rebuild with. And so I think this organization, this leadership, this brass must be flexible and open-minded to all of these possibilities so we can get out of this rut. But the opportunity is there, and that's where I think the excitement comes.
Also interesting, they did a 3-year, $106.5 million contract extension with Max Crosby that included $91.5 million in guarantees. Do you know how much of that got prorated out in the form of a signing bonus? It didn't. So they're taking their lumps on these big contracts in stride. You could trade Max Crosby this offseason and take on $5 million in dead cap. To trade Max Crosby 1 year after giving out a $106.5 million extension. I mean, that's unheard of. Not that your cap situation is not prohibited from you taking dead cap if you wanted to take dead cap and move on from a player. But the fact that you just did these big business dealings with names like Geno and Max Crosby, and you can move on and have negligible to no dead cap space as a result of it, I think it makes it that much more of an attractive option for the Raiders to kind of ask themselves questions on what can we get for what players on the roster and really lean into we are building now.
All right. Arizona Cardinals, your moment is coming up next. Folks, be sure to stick with us. The holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap, it's a way to share memories, because Aura isn't just your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it, so when they plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. And there are so many people that would love this frame: grandparents, parents, newlyweds, anyone who loves photos. My 5-year-old, we have one on the counter. She loves to look at that thing. So it's a great gift for anyone. You can upload endless pictures and 30-second videos through the app. You can add a personalized message right inside the frame, so the gift feels thoughtful from the moment it's opened. And I love this. The packaging comes gift ready. There's no price tag. There's no wrapping needed. It's a huge win. It's a holiday gift that actually gets used, not something that's going to be stashed in a drawer. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using promo code LOCKEDON at checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code LOCKEDON. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
Cardinals.
All right. So they have $31 million in cap space. And we just talked about how the Raiders have pushing like
120.
Here's the thing. And I had to holster this for this moment. The Raiders have the fewest number of players in the league under contract at 30.
It's okay. And we're talking about trading a few more.
Listen, the Cardinals, you have 31 in cap space, but you have 51 players under contract.
Any player they add is not going to change their cap figure unless it's above a minimum salary player.
100%. So that 31, before you even get into any restructure opportunities that you may want to consider, it's different, right? Because your cap is rule of 51 in the offseason. And so that 31 million in cap space, I think, goes a pretty long way. And you have all of your organic picks. And of course, those are trending towards being very, very high picks in each round.
Mm-hmm. I think if I look at the Cardinals roster breakdown, I'm excited about some of the growth we saw from Marvin Harrison Jr. Not quite up to the hype as a high draft pick just yet, but we are bringing it back around. Trey McBride's one of the best tight ends in football, and that tight end room as a whole, with Trey McBride, Tip Ryman as a young inline blocking player, Elijah Higgins is a kind of a flex player that I think would do well for himself with added opportunities in a different situation. I'm down with this tight end room. I like it a lot. It was a big time strength of them last year. Trey McBride's kind of become the centerpiece of it. Along the offensive line, we got Paris Johnson as a young stud offensive lineman. He's extension eligible after the season. My advice would be get on that, right?
Yeah, was that Ossenfort's first pick, right?
I believe that's actually
Yeah.
factually accurate, yes.
Yeah.
Defensively, I like you get a long-term contract locked in with Josh Sweat, who should be a good player for you. We'll see what you continue to get out of Darius Robinson. This is really his first year playing as a former first-round pick himself. Walter Nolan has been very disruptive early on. In the secondary, a lot of youth at corner, which is good news, right? Vontae Davis once said it's a young man's game.
Heard
right?
that before, yeah.
Those guys in the secondary more so than anybody, right? Because it's such a high degree difficulty. You're playing backwards. You're playing at a pedal. You're playing in space. You have to have reactive quickness and twitch and anticipation. Max Melton's 23. Will Johnson is a player who would have been a first-round pick if not for some medical stuff, is 22 years old. Garrett Williams is 24. Elijah Jones is 25. Keitrell Clark is 24. Denzel Burke is 23. It's a young group. And then obviously you still have Budda Baker on a long-term contract as well, kind of getting towards the end of the prime of his career. But you've got a lot of pieces and a lot of rooms to work with if you're the Cardinals, I think.
Didn't even mention Marvin Harrison Jr.
I did at the very beginning.
Oh, did you? Okay, I missed that. All right.
I said we haven't quite lived up to top 10 hype just yet, but we've shown some promising growth throughout the course of this year. That should have you feeling optimistic.
Yes, 100%. I think this is a team that has the talent, has a nucleus of talent that's worth being excited about. We're not going to be able to say that about a lot of teams. And Arizona does have some of that. And I like that a lot of it's come through the current general manager, Monty Ossenfort.
Yes.
Which is intriguing about what he can continue to build. And I also get excited about a new direction at quarterback. I think it's generally understood and accepted that the Kyler Murray era is over. And that should be exciting because Kyler Murray is a gifted football player, a lot of twitch and athleticism. He's got a rocket of an arm. I just don't know that from an intangibles perspective. He's the type of guy that is your ideal face of your franchise, the guy that's going to endear himself to the team, to the city. And the opportunity to transition there is got to be exciting, especially because you should be able to get something in a trade for Kyler Murray. There's going to be a lot of need out there for quarterbacks, and I'm sure somebody would like to have Kyler Murray. I'm not going to promise like a high first-round pick or like that, anything like that in exchange, but you're going to have the opportunity to reset, and at a minimum, I think you can look at maybe even Jacoby Brissett as a bridge-type quarterback. You have the opportunity to go in a new direction there, and I think those possibilities excite me, especially as you consider just the necessity to have that piece. And they have a chance to, within the next couple of years, find a new guy.
Yeah, the any team who signed a backup quarterback to a multi-year contract should take a bow, right? Because if he turns out he gets in and he plays like Mac Jones, you say, wow, what a nice asset for us to have in our back pocket for next year to go whatever direction we want to go. Or maybe the starter is owed a lot of money and he's not playing well, and Jacoby Brissett signs a 2-year deal, and you say, wow, how nice of us to know we have a certain floor of execution and baseline performance at quarterback with this guy to give us the courage to move on from Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Which I think is it sounds like that's where this team is at, because Jonathan Gannon and everybody knows what time it is. It's either Kyler's time or it might be our time. Right. So I think now is the transition time. And the way the Kyler contract is structured too, he's got a $17 million roster bonus that's due to him, in addition to a $22.85 million base salary. So if they're willing to say they eat just the roster bonus, hypothetically, right? And you would probably have to restructure it, and maybe you hold Kyler through June 1st and he gets traded in the summertime. The mechanics of that get a little messy. But if you're willing to eat the salary and you can buy it down from the $42.5 million that he's owed, if you can get that south of 30, I think suddenly he's in that ballpark with we just talked about Geno Smith being owed 26.5, right? I think you give yourself a reasonable expectation to get a reasonable ROI on the pick if you're willing to buy down the salary a little bit. And that's what I would be looking to do if I were Arizona. The challenge is how much and how do you offset that cash commitment with the rest of your roster and your cap space.
Running the ball was supposed to be a big identity piece for Arizona this year. And the running back injuries have just been killer. Like, do you have any idea how many yards the leading rusher for the Cardinals has this year?
That's what I guess it's like 450 or something like that.
255.
255. Okay.
The leading rusher. We've played 12 games, Kyle Crabbs. 255.
255?
That's the most.
We're on like 2019 Ryan Fitzpatrick pace here to be the leading rusher on the team.
They've just had so many injuries, and like Drew Petzig, that's his thing, like running the ball. Yelda Froholt's a good center. They had some good offensive linemen we talked about, but Zonovan Knight at 255 yards is your leading rusher so far this year. And so I think
favorite Beome Knight.
I liked Beome Knight as well. He was a fun runner at North Carolina State. But point being is that there were injuries that affected your result this year. And I think that's been, unfortunately, part of the Jonathan Gannon story, where it just feels like we haven't really seen him get to play his hand the way he wants to, whether it was year one and Kyler
injuries
and then just not having any defensive talent. And then, this year you're dealing with offensive injuries. I don't know what to think of Jonathan Gannon. But I think you can honestly look at his tenure and feel like, maybe this guy really hadn't had a fair shake to make this team what he wants it to be. And I don't know what his future holds, but I think you can point to injuries as something that has really kind of derailed the direction of this offense, at least.
I got a little something else for you in the way of the spirit of the Levy Grail as we get ready to go to break. I'm going to go through the expiring contracts Arizona has. You going to miss Will Hernandez if he leaves?
No.
You going to miss Kelvin Beachum if he leaves?
He's been there 100 years, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Played for forever. Speaking of playing for forever, Calais Campbell's an expiring contract. You probably miss him, but you're probably pretty well equipped with the rest of your defensive depth chart to take that loss in stride. You can miss Zay Jones?
No.
Can we mercifully end this Greg Dortch thing in Arizona?
Absolutely not. Contract. Absolutely not.
Michael Carter, not the DB Michael Carter either.
Running back, yeah.
LJ Collier, Josiah DeGara, Amari DiMercato is a restricted free agent. Beome Knight's a restricted free agent. It's Jalen Thompson at safety and Jonah Williams are in like the void year windows of their contracts.
51 players under contract, right? I mean, they're
got a lot locked in here.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Coming up next, we're going to talk a little bit about Adam Thielen and the draft order. It's interesting how things are shaping up towards the top of that. So we'll do that here next, folks. Be sure to stick with us. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. And live betting is best when the game starts to shift. The receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into that moment. They have live spreads and money lines that adjust instantly, player props that update as guys heat up. You can bet on the next touchdown score, drive results, totals, and more. It just keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, and every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. All right, so I told you I wanted to talk a little bit about Adam Thielen, who was
something on your heart here.
You'll see.
Okay.
So he requested his release from the Vikings, and now he's on the Steelers. And shout out to that guy on Twitter. Did you see this guy? He put out a tweet. He's like, "Yeah, Mike Tomlin's going to say you can't eat soup with a fork.
We need spoons.
And then he's going to sign some 2018 Pro Bowler to the practice squad. Yeah. My goodness, and it happened, right? Like, that's a great.
Well, it's not Samuel Jr. too. Like, it was like boom, boom, like right down the line. He nailed it.
they can use some receiver help. I hope that Adam Thielen gets a chance to play a little bit. It was interesting to listen to his wife's TikTok that she put out, and it's like, hey, he just wants to play. It's his last season. He just wants to play. He's been an inactive player for the Vikings. But what I specifically wanted to get into with you is something that was surfaced by Ari Merov, my sports updates on X. And he highlighted the wide receiver trades for the Carolina Panthers under Dan Morgan.
No.
Kyle, have you seen these?
No,
this is unbelievable.
I haven't seen it, but I'm expecting it to be as bad as the Panthers quarterback trade.
No. These are great. These are great trades by Brandon Morgan or Dan Morgan. So, of course, he sends Adam Thielen to the Vikings, and he got a 4 and a 5 back this offseason.
Didn't they send a pick with
like a conditional 6 or something? It's
okay.
They're going to net like a 4 at least on this trade.
Okay. Well done.
Sent Jonathan Mingo to Dallas for a 4. And Deontay Johnson and a 6 to Baltimore for a 5.
And Deontay Johnson couldn't stay on a team for more than 3 weeks during that period of time.
Talk about trimming some fat and getting like a decent amount of mid-round draft capital for those guys is pretty freaking impressive. Mingo can't get on the field for the Cowboys, man. Yeah. It's like the 6th receiver. Thielen's been a healthy scratch, and Deontay Johnson, I don't think he's selling insurance yet. I mean, what is he doing?
He said that trade from Carolina to Baltimore. Was it they got a 5?
Yeah, they had to give up a 6, but they get a 5 back.
Okay, let me see what did Deontay. Do you know what Deontay Johnson did in Baltimore?
Caused rifts and got released.
Do you know did he have more targets or receiving yards?
Oh, well, I'm guessing. I'm guessing targets based on you asking that question, because that's not something a human should ask another human.
He had more receiving yards, but he had 6 receiving yards on 5 targets in 4 games, and that was it. That was it for Deontay Johnson. So, not great. And that was last year, no less. So, very well done, Dan Morgan, for, you got to win the margins, right? We say it all the time. You got to win the margins from your roster construction, and you got guys like this that you got opportunities to cash them, move on. Well done. Thank you for bringing this to my attention.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So we have the draft order thing, but I wanted to ask you if you heard what Jackson Dart had to say after the Monday night game about his play style, and if you had any reaction to that. Yeah,
I did. So what he said that he watches Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and they take hits?
Oh, no, not even that. It was, if you've watched me going back to high school, the way I play is not a surprise. I'm not changing. As he gets lit up again and again and again.
Okay. All right. Well, it's nice knowing you. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just not going to work out. You know what I mean? Josh Allen did change. He did.
That was my reaction, was when I heard him say that, I said, you'll learn, right? You find out your mortality in football real quick. And either he will learn, or that pick is going to go very sour much earlier than it should, based off his physical ability and his potential.
A lot of the reasons that the Bills play the style of offense that they do right now is to sustain Josh Allen's career. Because the guy that Josh Allen was his first 3-4 seasons, 5 seasons, if you will, not going to be conducive to allowing him to play late into his 30s. We saw what happened with Cam Newton. The foot, the shoulder, it deteriorated quick. He went from a 2015 MVP on a 15-1 team that went to the Super Bowl to irrelevant very, very quickly.
It was 3 years.
Yeah, and 3 injury-plagued years. The next thing you know, he's starting games for the Patriots. They bring him back to Carolina for the weirdest stretch of games you've ever seen in your life.
We played him. It was a fun game.
Kyle, I was there. I was in Buffalo. I went to Buffalo to see the Panthers play the Bills, and freaking Cam Newton was the starting quarterback. What is happening, right? So, okay, Jackson, I hope that you reconsider, because I think you're skilled and I like a lot of things about you, but dude, you can't take those shots along the sideline, buddy. That is so immature. That is so immature.
Especially because as soon as he said that,
yeah.
So they went back and they pulled the Gruden clip of Gruden calling him out to his face. He's like, "You got to change your play style. Hey, you got to change your play style, man. They think it's reckless. I think it's dangerous." And he laid into him for 60 seconds of Jackson sitting there nodding his head. And then this season's played out the way that it has. And how many trips to the blue tent have we gotten for Jackson Dart?
This is insane. It's insane.
It missed a game with concussion, gets lit up on the sideline the very first game back, and says that after the game. And I'm like, and the longer I stewed on it, the more the comment bothered me.
Yeah, the more I'm sitting here talking through it, I'm getting fired up. Like, what are you talking about, dude?
I like Jackson. I want to like Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
I think he's got great energy. I think he's taken to the game pretty well. I think there's a lot of room for growth, but I think there's a ton of natural ability. Please don't go down this path is my reaction to the quote.
To act like, well, this is the way I've always played, and you're not going to change is such an ignorant comment when legitimate people that have been part of and a lot of success in the league knows what it's about, and they're telling you that. Boy, that's concerning, man. That's hard-headed. That's bad.
Do you want to review the draft order for the 2026 NFL draft as things currently stand?
Yeah, I think just some quick comments here as we wrap up about just the direction of how the top of this is shaping up. And you're obviously a lot more versed on this draft. And I guess just a question for you would be, as you consider the top talent in this draft and you see how the landscape is shaping up, like, are there certain teams that you look at and feel like it would be really beneficial for them to land in a specific spot?
The Raiders as high as possible, to tie it into the Levy Grail conversation, because they're one of 4 teams in the league right now with 4 losses, and they're the only one that you definitively say needs a quarterback, no questions asked.
What did you? I don't think you said that correctly. They're one of
4 teams in the league with 10 losses.
With 10 losses, okay,
yeah, or more. Because Tennessee's 1-11, the Giants are 2-11, and then the Saints and Raiders are 2-10. So I think they're a team. I think what's interesting is a lot of these teams, you're going to get head-to-heads. Where Tennessee is 1-11, their remaining schedule, they play the Browns this weekend, and they also play the Saints in Week 17.
Yeah, they got a chance to screw that up, huh?
They got a big-time chance to screw that up. The Giants are 2-11. They have their bye, obviously. They play Las Vegas Week 17.
Boy, that could be for the number 1 pick.
The Saints play the Jets and the Titans in back-to-back weeks in Week 16 and 17. So, man, I mean, those are all top 7 teams playing each other in the current order in the final month of the season. Cleveland's got Tennessee this week, and then like their other meaningful draft order game is Cincinnati Week 18.
I don't think you can eliminate some of the 3-win teams. You know what I mean? Like, based on some of this?
Yeah.
It'd be a stretch, but some of these 3-win teams that are picking 5th or later could be in the top 3.
So there's, how much time do we have left on the show? A minute. 3-win teams, the Browns, Commanders, Jets, Cardinals are the 3-win teams in football right now. I think is it fair to say the Cardinals are playing the worst football out of any of them right now? Like, the Jets just won. Washington's had an overtime loss and another overtime loss in which they went for 2 and had a banger of a play call to win the game. I mean, the Cardinals won their first 2 games and are 1-9 since.
I think the Raiders and Titans might have something to say about who's
playing
worse.
Of the 3 loss of the 3
wins.
Of
the 3 lost for sure. Yeah, without question. Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. Well, that's it for us here on the show. There's a lot to get into. We will dive into it. Kyle Crabbs, Joe Marino. We appreciate you guys checking out the show. Make it a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you all again tomorrow.